Yo, what's up? It's Brian Foster here from We Are Films, and today I'm going to teach you how to properly capture slow motion. Jump right into it. Typically, a cinematic shot will be 24 frames per second. That's the closest thing to what your eyes see. Even if you don't shoot in 24 frames per second, your sequence should definitely be in 24 frames per second, unless you want this weird look. And that's a whole different story. To capture a good slow motion, you would need a higher frame rate. That way you can stretch the frame rate to 24 frames. So 50 frames, you're gonna be able to stretch it about 50%, and that gives you slight slow motion. You can go to 120 frames. You do the math on that. I think it's 18%, 20%, somewhere around there. You stretch it out and you get this nice crispy slow motion. Side note, your shutter speed must be double your frame rate. And that's to get the most cinematic look. There's obviously times you can break the rules if you want the choppy look or anything like that. It's preference at that point, but the proper way to shoot it is, say I shoot it at 120 frames per second, I want my shutter speed to be 250. If I shoot it at 50 frames per second, I want my shutter speed to be 100. If I shoot it at 24 frames per second, I want my shutter speed to be 50. And that just gives you this nice, crispy look. So without further ado, let's jump right into Premiere Pro, and I'll teach you how to do it here. And if you don't shoot it right, in your 50 frames, 120 frames, 60 frames, whatever your slow motion may be, if you accidentally shoot it in 24 frames or 30 frames and you need a slow motion shot, you just got this crispy moment and you want to capture it, I got you. I'm gonna teach you how to fake it. Let's jump right in. Here we go to File, New, Sequence. I usually do the DSLR 1080p 24 frames. If you ever want to change that, you go to sequence settings, 1920, 1080, 23.976 frame rates, or 24. Either or is good. Bring our footage in the timeline. Keep existing settings. If you ever want to see what your frame rate is, if you forgot what you shot it at, you can right click the clip, go to properties, and you can see right here, this is at 23.976 at 4K. So what we could do with that is scale it to the frame size. This is my beautiful model, Carrie Owens, and this was shot at 24 frames per second. No slow motion. And then we have this clip here. This clip is 120 frames per second at 1080. No need to adjust the size. Looks normal enough, right? Here we could slow this down to about 20% and keep a crispy look. Again, my shutter speed was 250. You see here we have a crispy cinematic slow motion. So say we want to take this clip that's in 24 frames per second and we want to slow motion this clip. Well, if I turn this clip to 50%, because it was not shot at the right frame rate, it's a little choppy there. We go even slower, it's even more choppy. Our way around this, it's so simple. You're gonna smack yourself upside the head because you didn't know this. All right, we do the 50 frames, correct? 50 frames, but down here at your time interpolation, it says frame sampling. You click that, push optical flow, and what this does is it guesses the frames for you. So we do that, it's gonna make you pre-render it. So let's do that real quick. We go ahead and just, we'll just go ahead and go to sequence, render entire work area. I could render selection, but never lets me do it. So now we wait. Block. I don't know anything about a car's extended warranty. And now, let's check it out. Now we have a nice, crispy, slow motion shot at 24 frames per second. All because of time interpolation. But I do want to show you guys something because there are notes you should take here. I took a couple extra clips just to kind of give you guys an idea. So the optical flow, it's a great tool, amazing, but it does have its flaws. Here, on this frame, it was 24 frames per second, just like the last one, at 4K, but I had him do a lot of movement for me. And this is what the optical flow does. We turn it to 50% optical flow, and if there's too much movement, this is what it does. You see there's warps around everywhere because of where it's guessing. It's almost doing too much. Like, this would be great as an effect if you did it in a cool way. Like, you could really make this look awesome. But if you're trying to get a cinematic slow motion, that's not going to work. You're going to have to shoot something with a lot of movement the right way if you want the right thing. Now, one more example is something else I shot at 24 frames per second, but I want to slow motion this. Say I got a little clip that's really short and I need it to be half the size longer. There's not a lot of movement in it. Let's go over a little bit. Let's use a different spot. See, there's not a lot of movement in the clip, right? Speed duration 50, optical flow. Don't forget to pre-render. And here you have it. Perfect slow motion, not shot right. That's how you fake slow motion. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. I hope you guys learned something from this. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. Just kidding, don't hit that. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're gonna go up the stairs from beginner to advanced. We got this.